Hello and welcome to another episode of the Anime Lounge Short Flights. I'm your host Lance, and today I will be covering the new anime Ragna Crimson. Uh, if you followed us in the past, thank you for joining us this season because we got a lot going on this season. And as I cover Ragna Crimson throughout this, I will also be comparing the anime and the manga. So let's get started. We learn that our main character's name is Ragna. That's pretty obvious. But he's also traveling with another girl named Leo. And she's prodigy. She's a badass. She hunts dragons and she's just amazing. We learn that to kill these dragons, they have to die by either using the silver blade that cuts the silver aura will freeze their blood, or you cut them in the sun and then they can burn up, much like the demons in Demon Slayer. So I wanted to make that little parallel because I thought that was pretty interesting. But we start getting some crazy stuff going on. Let's just jump right to the more of the bigger details where Ragna starts getting these dreams, these visions of Leo dying, and the town behind is going in flames and things are going down. Things are just being destroyed. And it's getting very interesting. And some guys telling them that, Leo's going to die and things aren't going to happen right. And it's very confusing at first, and I'll tell you what, it was very confusing reading it in the manga. So I'm glad I read it, or I watched it before I read it, because these panels jumping back and forth on some of this stuff is really confusing. But he ends up having this dream for quite a few days that they explain, and then we meet this asshole, number two, Sykes. He's number two because he's got the second most kills in dragons. And one small difference between the anime and the manga is his name is just spelled differently. In the anime, it's Sykes, but in the manga, it's Saix. A little different, same deal. That's all right. But now we get to the next plot point where this town is supposed to be this one beautiful town that's protected from dragons ends up getting destroyed by dragons. I think they said that's been like over 20 years since they've had a dragon incident, and now it's taken over. One more small difference that they made was the anime said that the town to the east was attacked, but in the manga they said it's the northwest. So completely different direction, irrelevant, just another difference. But then we find out that the very next day that our town gets attacked, and a huge horde of dragons come in, and they're all led by this one dragon. His name is Grumwelt, and we come to find out that he is a superior dragon. There's the I don't remember if the anime quite said it, but the manga explained that there's dragons, normal dragons. They're just as intelligent as beasts are, so they're just instinctual and dumb. And then there's a next level where intelligence starts to pick up. They gave that a name, but we haven't crossed that yet. And then the next step up is superior, and that's what this guy is. And another difference in the anime is he said that he was the weakest of 10 of these superior dragons, and the manga quickly said that like the 11th. So I wonder where they're going to go with that kind of a difference. I wonder if that's really going to be a difference, but small one. So this is where all the fun really happens. Ragna wants to protect Leo because he had all these visions that she's going to die. So he goes in and tries to save the day. His sword breaks upon the very first slash off this dragon, and he flings him off in the water, and he starts sinking. And then he starts having this moment to himself. Is like, well, now Leo's going to die, and now I'm just going to have to get into a revengeful state, and I'm just going to say fuck the world, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to be the strongest. But then he starts having another another voice come to him, and we come to find out that it's actually the future him. And I really liked this because I didn't see any kind of anime do this where a future self talks to the past self and then take it to the next step and then give all of the future self's power to the past self to make everything better. But of course, we come to learn that this is going to come at a cost. And we don't know what the exact cost is, but they made mention that the past self isn't going to live long anyway. And something else is going to happen to Leo now that she's going to survive. Like, she's not supposed to live long either, like something along those lines. But can't wait to find out what happens about that. So, past self explains that after Leo died, of course, he went on the revengeful berserk state of mind. He spent many years just hunting all the dragons, and eventually his silver sword started to fuse into him. Like I don't remember if the anime showed it, but his hand was started to fuse with it, and then after a couple of years, the sword itself completely just was engulfed by him, and he learned to fight with that. And then he eventually learned how to harness more of the aura, and then he was able to become such a powerful weapon himself. So it took, I don't know, like it took 20 plus years for him to become such a powerful person. And although all that experience can now go directly into our main character, present day, past him, whatever. And now we get to see him get such a huge power boost. And that was so awesome. Seeing him just walk up onto the battlefield again like a badass, just taking his steps, freezing all the dragons around him. And then when it comes to Big Baddie, he just freezes them, no biggie, and then flicks him on the nose, shatters him into a million pieces. And that's the story of the weakest 10th/11th dragon. So that was really sweet. A lot of action came out of this episode. The very first episode, 45 minutes. It was a long episode, but it was awesome. Um, what was also pretty interesting was this was all of chapter one and half of chapter two. That's a lot. It was a long chapter, I'll tell you that. But usually this something this long, I was expecting to read like 5 chapters. They did everything to the T. Everything was the few minor things that I said that were changed, those were whatever. But the story was exactly the same. They pulled everything out that they needed to pull. The anime obviously elaborated on a lot of the action, which was great because it was all beautiful. And yeah, they did a great job following. We end our episode with some stuff going on in the forest outside of town. And I read a little bit ahead, and that forest is pretty powerful. And can't wait to find out what happens in the anime next. Um, so that's all I'm going to share for today. If you guys are interested in where I'm reading this manga, I'm going to have it in the description. And also make sure to follow the anime show on Facebook and Instagram. Stay up to date on everything anime related and continue to follow us on everything that we're posting throughout the season on other short flight episodes. We got a lot coming this season. So yeah, I'll see you guys later.